everyone, it's Cheryl from Autumn Acres joining you today. Today is July 5th. It is the day after the 4th, and we are supposed to kind of have this weekend off. But we have been so busy with the wedding and field work that we have not taken any time at all to do garden tours or even recording any of our projects lately. So it's kind of overcast today. In fact, it has rained 2-3 times already today. The humidity is about 89% right now. And we kind of have some more rain on the way. So I don't know, we're gonna try to squeeze this in just because it's been a long time. I should have done a garden tour sometime the beginning of June or late May, but we were just too busy to get it done. So here we are. This is gonna be the first garden tour, full garden tour of the season so far. I think we'll first start up front here. I'm at the entrance to our garden. We have a little arbor here that leads your way into the front yard. But I'm going to start actually over we have a little bit of a garden area up front here by the driveway and garage. And we have some of the flowers, pots and stuff that we used at the wedding. For those of you who don't know, our son and now daughter-in-law just got married last weekend at our farm. And so some of these pots were used up at the wedding, and now we've just brought them back here because they're going to be easier for me to care for during the summer when they're back here at the yard. And then they'll probably go out for the fall. We can enjoy them until we get some frost, or maybe a little before. They'll probably swap things out for some mums or some fall things that will take a little bit of more of the cold temps in the fall. So we'll start up here. I don't know when the last time I actually did a full garden tour was. I think it was a couple years ago, and it was the spring, and there wasn't much showing. And I'm just going to tell you, we've been super busy. As we go through here today, you're going to see messy spots. You're going to see some weeds. It's not perfect. We don't live a perfect life. We are very busy, but I've learned that if you wait till everything's perfect, you're never going to share anything. You're never going to do anything. So you just got to go with it. So up here in the front, I have miscanthus. Maybe I should walk over this direction here so you can see. Okay, so I have annuals in here. In the past, I have actually planted mostly reds up here because I used to have our flag here, and now the tree has gotten too big, so we can't have the flag there anymore. So this year I switched it up, and we went with some pinks and some blues, and I even have some white Gara in here. So most of these things were started from seed. In fact, all of them were. The geraniums, the Gara, and the blue salvia were all started from seed. So some of these are kind of farther behind because some of them never got potted up. They went from tiny little plugs right into the ground because I just didn't have any more room for them. So anyway, we've got white to pink maverick geraniums that are starting to bloom here. And then if you look right back here, you can see some of the blue salvias just starting to put on some blooms there. And then I've got a couple little white Gara that will kind of, I think, give it a nice texture. That's going to give it a different leaf texture in the middle of all that. So over here, we've got some Rosy Dawn petunias. These are all started from seed. And you'll see these all over the garden. It is kind of my I think the one flower I use all over, and I think it gives some continuity throughout the garden by having something that's repetitive as we go through. Right over here along the fence is our miscanthus purpuricens, which is our autumn flame grass. Actually towards later summer, they will get beautiful white plumes on it. This is not invasive like, I'm trying to think of what that one that spreads everywhere that sometimes you'll see in road ditches and stuff. It's not like that. These are clumping grasses. They will spread, but they're very easy to contain and maintain. So, and in the fall, you'll get a beautiful red and even kind of an orangey color, and they're just gorgeous. Over here, we just have a little seating area. This is actually one of my favorite spots because this little coral burst crab apple gives us a little bit of shade into the afternoon. And so when everything else happens to be in sun and I'm taking a break, there are two spots in my garden that I like that give me some shade when the rest of it doesn't. And one of them is here. And if you look here, you can actually see this was one of the bouquets that or not bouquets, but pots that we did for the wedding. And we had two of them and they were hanging on the stage. And this is a Piketty, is it Piketty Pink Gara? This was a strawberry something viburnum. I cannot remember off the top of my head. And this is a calliope. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting all my names today. Calliope geranium. We've got Dichondra Silver Falls coming out the bottom. And we had two of those hanging. Over here, we had a couple of these planters as well up at the farm for the wedding. And this has two different kinds of eucalyptus. Off the top of my head, I cannot remember what they're called. One's like a seeded eucalyptus, and the other one might be like silver dollar, I think, or something. And then we have the violet. I think this is a calliope as well, geranium. And we've got some silver, Dusty Miller, sorry, pink vein, petunia. And we've got the tiara pink as well. That's a proven winners one. That is such a nice addition to almost anything you put it in. And I think that's pretty much all that's in there. Those have filled out, and they're one of my favorite things. I got lots of compliments at the wedding on these. These are just gorgeous. Okay, so that's kind of our front here. We'll go on into the garden through the entrance here. And we also had these out at the wedding too, and these are going to be like some repeats. We have the calliope with the name I cannot remember. It's I can't remember what color. Americana, I think it might have been. That might have been an Americana pink. And these have a couple of little vincas in here. And then they also have a dahlia back there, but that is currently not blooming right now, but that was in the same color scheme. And these are, if I remember, they're the violet Piketty maverick geraniums, and then euphorbia. And I do not remember which variety. I have like 3 different varieties in the garden right now, and I'm not sure which one that is. So, okay, so as we enter in, you're gonna see on both sides of the garden, I have basically it's a perennial salvia. That is also called meadow sage. That would be its common name around here. And that one will come back year after year. You can see that we still have a little bit of purple color on it, but it is getting ready to be cut back, and it'll flush again. In fact, if you look over here, you're gonna come and check this out. Oh, I got a nice dandelion in here, but this one has flopped open from the rain, and you can see it already has new growth coming. So when I cut this back, it actually won't take long at all for that to flush back and look nice again. This direction, I probably won't take you down here, but you can at least look. Then you get to see all of the junk in the background from the farm that we're storing there. But out here, I have a bunch of celosia that I seeded, and these are from Florette Flower Farm. And I cannot remember off the top of my head which variety they are. I do have these all kept track, so I know which ones they are. But last year I planted a few things from Florette, and I had pretty poor germination. I was kind of disappointed, but I didn't use all my seeds. So I thought, I'm going to try this again this year. This year we've had a lot more rain, and I've been able to keep things moist, more evenly moist, and boy, it has made all the difference. So I don't think it was the seeds that were the problem. I think it was just our conditions last year, because I have a bunch of zinnias and celosia in different spots in the garden this year from them, and they are coming up great. So I'm really excited to see them. Back here, I'm just going to show you, I have a couple of New Guinea impatiens, and I have an autumn frost hosta. You can see that the wind is maybe a little extra sun on here too that's causing this, but mostly I think this is wind. We get so much wind out here, and sometimes they just take a beating. So over here to the side is an amber jubilee 9-bark. I do need to cut some dead growth, or dead, it's not growth anymore, but some dead branches out of here. But this is one of my favorites in the spring. When this comes out, it is so orange, it's so vibrant. And then in the fall, it's this beautiful orange as well. And I love pairing purples with this. Usually I'll have some bluish purple stuff planted around these. I just think they make a nice contrast. Over here, this is autumn fire sedum. So autumn joy sedum is the one you're going to be most probably familiar with. Autumn fire is so similar, but it stays just a tiny bit more compact, and I never have flopping with this variety, and I have tons of them throughout the garden. And I don't even know if you're going to find them in nurseries very often. I happen to get these probably 15 years ago now as little plugs. I got probably an entire tray, like maybe 72 of them or something. I don't even remember, but I have a ton of them, and I love this variety. This is my favorite, just because when they come up in the spring, they look like little balls. They kind of almost look like little boxwoods. They just give so much structural interest in the spring. And then in summer, they've got this beautiful color. And then in fall, they'll get the maroon heads, and they are just huge pollinator attractors in the fall. So over here, this is new this year and for me. And right here, I'm going to show you that Kufia. That is the deep pink, or deep pink talk. So it has all of them in it. Anyway, I'll get the name and I'll put it on the screen. But Kufia, and this is the first time I've ever grown Kufia. I grew it from seed this year. We started it in the basement, and actually I have some here, and we actually had a few left over we were able to put out at the farm, so I've got some growing out there. But I was able to, this whole area, if you look in here, my Rosy Dawn petunias is something I've done over and over again in here. I have some liatris getting ready to bloom real soon. And I have these barberries down here, and I believe those are adoration, and they stay pretty small. They have a very cool leaf. You have to see this with this chartreuse edge around the red. It's very, very cool. And I've had this, you know, scenario here with the little blue stem grass, but this year I filled in with this Kufia in here and with the Albrido coleus underneath the burning bush. And I am just absolutely in love with this combo. This is just amazing. I'm thrilled. Oh, here, some of the liatris here is starting to bloom. So you'll be able to see more of that. And as that color comes, that purple, that'll be another interesting color combo there. Okay, so in this area, you can see the liatris is starting to bloom there. We've got the blue stem and some more Kufia and Cheyenne Spirit Echinacea. And what I really love about this is the layering that I have put in place for the back. And I can walk around here and show you what's going on here. So back here, in front, so we'll have the Echinacea and the Kufia and this color up front. And then this is all Rudbeckia here. So this is gonna be yellow very soon. We've got some sunflowers that are also yellow. And then in here, you can't see them yet because they are just coming up. Well, they're actually getting ready to bloom. They're getting little buds on them. But I have cosmos back here, and those cosmos are called, I think it's called Xenia. It's an Xsenia, and those are kind of a magenta fuchsia type of color as well. So from the front, you'll be able to see the Rosy Dawn, you'll be able to see the Cheyenne Spirit and the Kufia in here, and then there'll be a row of yellow with some tall yellow sunflowers with more of that pink mixed in here. So I'm excited about this. This is a little bit new this year, the way I did that. The other thing is right here, this boulder, when we're looking from where we sit over, we usually sit over here by the house. If you look over here, this is kind of where we'll sit. And behind the boulder, I've had some tall grasses. I've done royal mahogany hibiscus. But this year I got a bobo hydrangea. And I'm excited about that because it's a hydrangea that will get tall enough to give a backdrop to what's here, but not so high that it's like obtrusive, because some of the things that I had here before just, they didn't fit the scale correctly. And I think the bobo hydrangea will do a nice job of that. Right over here, you can see that we have a dog kennel. It is painted black to help make it disappear a little bit. These are the things, you know, we all have things in our yards and our lives that are part of our life, but they sometimes don't necessarily fit our landscape. Well, I've just done my best, I guess, to make it kind of fit in. It needs to be here, you know, so we just tried to make it disappear a little bit. This cobblestone paver patio is another place I like to sit. So this tree up here that is shading it right now, this is a big poplar. In one of the previous videos I mentioned this. This is a tree that I'm gonna miss it so much, but it's gonna have to leave pretty soon. It's suckering all over the place. It's dropping branches and seeds and everything you can imagine. And so we are going to at some point take that down, and then we'll replace it with something cleaner, which obviously is going to take a lot of years to get this big, but unfortunately it's going to have to happen. So anyway, but right now this chair over here is my other shady spot that I just love to sit in when I take a break in the middle of the afternoon. Over here on this side we've got Asclepias, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but this is Asclepias tuberosa. It is, the common name would be butterfly weed, and it is in the milkweed family. And I have some of that, and that's blooming right now. Typically, that will bloom at the same time as the liatris. The liatris is kind of behind. They're getting ready here, and so we will get some bloom time together with the purple and the orange. And that's part of the reason it's grown together, because I love those two together, and they usually bloom at the same time. Down here, I'm going to have you do a close-up here. I want to show everyone. This is the Cosmic Cherry petunia that I grew from seed. It was from Baker Creek, And if you can see, compared to my hand, I mean, this bloom is about as big as my hand. They are just huge. And if you compare it to the pink vein next to it, this is kind of, you know, a normal size petunia. And you can see this thing is about 4 or 5 times as big. They're just amazing. I'm in love with those. I will definitely be growing those again next year. Okay, so this, let's go this way. I'll take this path. This is, in here is some raspberry. Oh, there's a skeeter. Raspberry agastaki. This is the first time I've ever grown agastaki, and I started it from seed. So far, not real impressed. It's supposed to be a lot bigger than this, so we will see if it gets some size to it. I have some lavender and agastaki in the back as well. Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know, not super impressed, but hopefully that it will. It's supposed to be about 18 inches tall, and right now they're maybe like 7 inches tall, so they're really not growing like they should be. I think I've mentioned this before as well. This is a, is it Glow Girl, birch leaf torspirea. This is one of my favorite shrubs. I have 2 of them. They are just gorgeous. If you could ever find one of them to add to your landscape, you will not regret it. Beautiful. They get a beautiful white flower on, but I mainly love them for their leaf and the color. Right here, I've got some feverfew. This is also a new one for me this year. So they look like tiny little daisies. These are just starting to bloom, and I put them all along here. Typically in the past, I've just let this be open, and I'm really excited about having something kind of fill in this space this year. Back here is, I call this my little grass circle. I like to have some spots of grass and green in my garden. Like, I just think it's a peaceful place to rest your eye. I think your eye and your brain needs that. Otherwise it gets to, for me, it gets to be all a jumble. So we have this spot back here, which is just my green circle. I call this my sitting rock. It's a nice place to just take a break. And over here is probably one of the few shady areas. We moved here and we were an open field. Like, nothing you see here was here when we moved here 15 years ago. It was literally a corn and soybean field. So right here we've got our plum tree. It looks a little sparse this year. I think this side of the tree is particularly like that because early on this year we had the worst dust storm, windstorm. Oh, it's starting to rain. Okay, let's pause. Okay, we are back. It is still sprinkling just really lightly, but it just rained for like 3 minutes. It was just enough to get everything wet again. So, but we're gonna try to get this done in the limited time we have. But over here I was talking about our plum tree. And so we had a terrible dust storm this spring. And we have more than one tree, and I know my parents have a few trees in their yard as well, that the one side of it, the west side, is like burned kind of. It's like the dust and the wind just burned those leaves. They're stunted, they're small, you know. So anyway, it doesn't look as full and lush as it normally does, and we'll see if it produces like it normally does. But it is one of the few areas I have some good shade in the garden, and so I have always loved hostas, but I never had any room at all for them, and I never placed for them in the gardens because everything was full sun. So now I've got this beautiful area where I have been able to add in hostas, some coral bells, and even these are some dragonwing begonias down here. And the funny thing is I actually would prefer pink, but I had a bunch of the red ones, so I just stuck them in this open space this year. And then you can see, okay, we'll take this path around here. And you can see that I have a little planter down here. I've got some coleus here. Oh my goodness, if you want to know what problems this year, the rabbits have been just absolutely terrible eating my stuff. I have been having to spray pretty much every night with liquid fence. So the liquid fence is really smelly, but we don't care because it's about the only thing that keeps them from eating my stuff. The other night they actually ate one of my coleus, completely gone here. This ridiculous coleus, it's gone. So I've made sure I sprayed the rest of them. And then, yeah, I don't know, I can't even remember everything they've been eating this year, but they haven't been very picky, so I've been spraying pretty much everything. The other thing they really loved was, especially at the beginning of spring, was those cosmic cherry petunias that I just showed you. Oh my goodness, every time they could find one I hadn't sprayed or something, they ate it. And then it keeps raining this year, so we have to keep spraying the liquid fence. So anyway, this is kind of like my little shady area. My rhubarb here, though, it does amazing. I mean, this is huge. It doesn't look so healthy right now. Oh, something's been eating this. My goodness, look at that. I better pay attention what's going on out here. But this actually was a gift from my dear friend Marlis that just does a tiny little piece, and it is just a monster every year now. I'm actually going to be digging some of this up. My son and future daughter-in-law, probably, this girlfriend, they would like to give some to her sister and her brother-in-law who would like some rhubarb. So we're just going to dig a chunk out of there, and that it probably won't even phase that big huge thing. So over here, this is actually something that I'm doing a little bit different. This is out here. For some reason, everything that I can't see from where I sit at the house, I end up neglecting it. There's so much to do around here that if I can't see it, I just pretend it's not there and I let it go to crap. So anyway, back in this area, I have done that before. And this year I planted bachelor's buttons in here because I think they'll come back from seed on their own every year. And I think that'll be a really nice way to fill this. And I'm going to love the color out here. And then I have some blue veronica here too as well. Okay, so going this way, go come back in. We have over on this side, we have a viburnum and a burning bush. The smaller, shorter one is the burning bush. And then this area here is my I call it my little triangular. It's where the path splits. And so I have this beautiful sedum here. The pink vein is something I added this year. Before it was just the perennials, and I'm in love with it. The way the pink vein is playing, look at this here, with these blue veronica. It's just gorgeous. I just love that together. Anyway, and I also added in, so another thing that's new this year is, this is blue Nicotiana, but it does not look blue. And it's so funny because I still love it. It's beautiful as it is. And then this is some stock, and I can't remember if this is called light pink or what this one is for sure. But I have that on both sides as well. Okay, so let's go this way. This another area that I've done some new things in. Last year, I planted a peony that I believe came from my grandma's garden. My mom dug it up for me, and so it's coming up, but obviously it hasn't bloomed this year, but it's a first year. So I'm really excited about these. These are Chinese asters, and they are just getting ready to open. And that's one of the reasons I didn't want to do the garden tour, because there's so many things just getting ready to bloom. So we'll have to do another one and show you what it looks like after. Oh, did you let Finn out? You're here. Okay, we put Finn back inside. Well, I don't mind when he's out here when I'm working, but when we're doing a video, it can be difficult to concentrate. But okay, so I was talking about the Chinese asters. Those are just about ready to bloom. And actually, these are new this year too. And I'm forgetting the name. That's not the tag. What's that one for? Oh, here we go. Okay, this is the Proven Winners Catalina Midnight Blue Terenia. So I picked up a couple of those, and I kind of like adding that blue in here. We've got these pink Chinese asters coming. We've got the chartreuse of the golden oregano. So anyway, I thought that the blue color would be a nice addition. Okay, so this area is one of my favorites this year. It is probably because it's two brand new plants to me this year, and I love them both and I love them together. So I just posted online the other day. This one is the vintage brown stock, and I grew these from seed. The seed came from Johnny Seeds. And then here again, we have that cosmic cherry petunia from Baker's Seed with these huge, huge blooms. And honestly, this is probably the vintage brown is probably my favorite new flower that I've grown. But putting it with the cosmic cherry. By the way, I'll show you this though. The only negative to the cosmic cherry is because the blooms are so huge, like when they die, you kind of want to deadhead them because you see how gross they look. So yeah, that's the one negative to them, is that you do kind of have to clean them up because they don't clean themselves very well. All right, so we'll go down the path some more over here. Okay, this is an area where I grow my cosmos. I've done this for a couple years now. You're gonna step on a plant. You're just, right here is the area where I grow my cosmos. This is the Cosmos apricata, and they are getting close. I don't know if I see any buds yet, but I know they're very close to starting to put them on if they're not. And so when that gets filled in, this is just one of my favorite areas too. I say that about a lot of things though, but I love that area when it gets filled in. Back here you can see the bridge, and this is where water drains out of our front yard. And you can see that the riverbed is very empty. We had huge winter kill on a lot of things this year. Tons of different perennials I lost, but also just this ground cover, which normally it just does wonderfully. It has fills in and whatever, and I don't even have to worry about it other than weeded. but I lost probably 50% of the ground cover in the riverbed this year, so it's just starting to grow back in. So it looks kind of bare there. This is another thing, to me, it was like a happy accident. I don't know if I'll repeat it again next year, but but at first I was really disappointed because this hardy geranium was not up, and I put these Rosy Dawn petunias over here for the first time ever, and I was like, I'll throw some of these over here. We'll just get a little color going on, you know. And then these bloomed, and I'm like, oh, those are so cool, and these are so warm. And at first I didn't really like it, and I'm like, I don't know if I should leave that. But the truth is, when this started blooming more, like this had more color before, and I thought, oh, it's actually kind of fun. It reminded me of like a teenage girl bedroom, like the colors a teenage girl might, you know, put in there, like really, at least they used to. Now they're going for all the pastels. But I thought it was kind of fun. It actually kind of contrasts with each other. And then with the cobalt blue bird bath there, I decided I like it enough to keep it, and I'm not going to worry about it. I don't know if I'll repeat it next year, but I am enjoying it this year. All right, let's go this way. So in here, I just have a bunch of Gaillardia. It's starting to bloom. There is other plans in the future for this, but these just kind of fill it. I don't have to do anything with them, and low maintenance, so that's good for now. And then along the riverbed here, you can see that I have catnip or catmint, depending, nepeta, whatever you want to call it, along both sides of the riverbed. It just kind of lines it. And I had a lot of die off with that this year too. Typically this is pretty much a solid edge, but this year it's kind of sparse. So, and then these are getting ready for a cut back too. Probably not for another week or so, but I'll cut them back and they'll just be like little mounds again, and then they'll flush one more time and bloom one more time for me this year. So let's go across the bridge. Over here is yet another area that I did something a little different with this year. Oh, I am sorry, but I am really, the humidity is getting to me. The sweat is coming on, and my hair is probably frizzing everywhere. But more cosmic cherry petunias in here. And then, as I showed you earlier, the Chinese asters that I grew from seed, I have a whole bunch of them here as well, but these are going to be the Matsumoto blue, so they're supposed to be a blue color. So we will just see what happens there. This is all celosia that has come up from seed from previous years. I had celosia in here. So I think I also, I have a fuchsia in here, not a fuchsia plant, but this petunia is a Proven Winners fuchsia. The color is fuchsia. So that's mixed in with the cosmic cherry petunias. The other thing I just did this year was we're having so much washing. You can see it's kind of bare over here. I was having a hard time keeping things growing here. So the Artemisia that lines this paver, cobblestone paver, I tried to keep all blues and whites and grays, like this cool color tone. And same with like the Artemisia with that silver mound blue color. But I was having issues keeping them alive on this side because the water was washing the dirt away, and I couldn't, like, they would dry out too because they wouldn't have enough dirt around them to keep their roots moist. So finally I just decided to put a rock border here, and then I transplanted that Artemisia the other day from one of my other chunks. Oh, actually from right there, I forgot, took it from that one. And so it just got transplanted, but I think next year this will fill in much nicer again like it used to look, and it won't keep washing out, and it won't die because they get dried out. And then also because of that little rock wall, keep the soil up there. And when I transplant the sedum to fill in again, because I used to have some in there, but they also have died out because of that same reason. When I do that, I think it'll grow, it'll take, and it'll fill in, and it'll stay there now. So I hopefully fixed that problem. Over here, I just think this is kind of fun. This is like a hodgepodge of things, but I've got some Proven Winners fuchsia petunias there, sparkling amethyst verbena, and the cosmic cherry petunias again, and then a couple of the small Shasta daisies. These daisies you can see how small they stay. They don't get very tall. But I have to show you that one of the cosmic cherry, well, they don't have any pretty one. This one's pretty still. Petunias is getting this amazing, and this one always blooms this way with the white edges on it. And I'm going to save seeds from that this year because that is really unique and gorgeous, and it's different. So I'm going to save some seeds from that and see if we can get more of it next year. Up here in this corner, this is the sky blue Easy Wave, I believe, petunia, which I grow from seed. And then in this quadrant here, we've got alyssum, sweet alyssum growing. Over here, we've got a couple more hostas. These are all fairly new, so they're pretty small yet. And then more of the meadow sage, which was similar to what we saw at the entrance over there. It's about ready to needing to be cut back. And while we're here, actually, there's another thing I want to show you back here. One of the favorite parts of my garden, and people love it when I take pictures too, is my stand of Cheyenne Spirit Echinacea. They're just getting going right now, but they are one of the showstoppers in my garden. And don't ignore the weeds. There's plenty of weeds in there. But anyway, once they start blooming, it's just, honestly, that's probably one of my favorite parts of the garden too. Behind here, you will see that we've got a blue spruce globe, and that is the new, right down here is the new Proven Winners sand cherry, Stay Classy. I had a regular, just old-fashioned plain old sand cherry there for years, and it gets really big. Like if you let it grow, it'll get 10, 15 feet tall even. But I would cut it back every year and just kind of let it flush out again. And in that one season, it would get, you know, a good 5 feet tall probably, which made a nice backdrop. But it was a little large, and I always had to keep it pruned. So I'm excited because this one's only supposed to get about 4 feet tall, and I think it'll just stay there, I'm hoping, so I can let it do its thing and not have to constantly prune it back to maintain its size to stay in that space. And the ones we dug out, and so I used to have a larger blue spruce there as well, but we dug them out because they were both getting too big for their space. And then we put them out at the farm in the new landscaping we did out there. And that was great because we got instant impact out there with some larger shrubs by doing that. So, okay. Oh, this is what I wanted to talk about. I said before that we are going to talk about some of the ugly things. So if you look, Chad can maybe scan our house. We are in the process of re-siding our home, and it has already been going on for 2 years. We are hoping to get it mostly done this summer. Our youngest son, who lives with us, says he's going to start working it on weekends for us. He's doing construction, so he said he will work on that for us. But in the meantime, this entire front area has been neglected for 2 years. It's a mess. It's full of weeds. I will save some plants that are in there for sure when we redo it. But once the siding is done and we're not walking on it all the time, then I will go in there, and I actually have some new plans. I don't know, I think it's going to be cool to change it up a little up there, and we'll get that re-landscaped up along the house. So that's one of my ugly spots. So anytime you see pictures that I'm taking of the garden, I either A, try to avoid those in the background, or you're just going to have to live with it and understand that that's where we're at with that. So before we head to the backyard, we should maybe just head up to where, you know, up along the house where we sit, and I'll just go over a couple of the plants that are up there. You just have to see this beautiful yucca that's blooming. Oh my gosh, check this out. So this is color guard yucca, and I have quite a few of these around, but I can't get a good picture or can't tip it up for you, but those blooms are just stunning. I love them when they bloom. Okay, so this is where Chad and I like to sit. In the spring, we will usually sit against the house because it's usually out of the wind there and it's warm. And our plan is to actually have this sidewalk here, all of this kind of removed and redone, and put in one larger, it'll come out, cut out a little further, so we've got room to put our fire pit out here. We usually have a fire pit that we'll do fires in the spring and fall, or sometimes even in the summer. And we just don't have enough room for it. Like right now we have it sitting here. Sometimes we put it right here. And we would like to make this larger and have a spot where we can just leave that fire pit. But anyway, we sit over here when it's cool, like in the spring. And then over here, I don't know, anytime it's warm, if it's not too windy. A lot of times this grass, you can see it's how tall it is. You give it another couple of weeks, that grass is actually a nice wind block too. So even on a cooler day, it blocks the north winds. And I don't know, it's where we sit and we look at the garden, and it's not as hot here. So in the summer, it gets really cooking against the house, but over here, it's not as hot. And then anyway, along here, I usually do my blue petunias because I have that another amber jubilee 9 bark over here with that orange tone to it. And so I kind of play on that usually up here. And I will do, you know, orange toned, coral toned, orangish corals, and then blues with it. That's usually what I'll do up in this area. And then I have right in here, I have some zinnias and some celosia planted from seed this year, and they're getting ready to pop too. So that'll add a little bit more color and fill in this front then. So I think that's it. Maybe we could just do a pan of the garden, and then we'll head to the backyard and I'll show them what we've got going on there. All right, one more spot that I need to show you up in the front here. I can't believe I missed this. This is actually another one of my favorite spots. And so this year, I told you earlier about my apricota cosmos that are coming up right back here. We've got some liatris ready to bloom. We've got some Dusty Miller. What's that new variety? New Day. I don't know. It gets pretty tall, so it's coming. But one of the things I'm most excited about is my little new trellis here. We actually had, Chad's uncle does metal fabrication. He does a lot of our projects for the farm around here. And I had him make this up for me because last year I had just a tiny little like black easel that was not nearly big enough. And for the first time ever, I planted sweet peas. And I loved them so much. I just absolutely loved them. So anyway, I wanted to redo it this year, but I've got a much larger and more sturdy structure for them to grow on. So you can see that those are coming up. Can't wait for those to start blooming. And then this is just a nice combination of the Rosy Dawn, some Euphorbia, some Irisine. I don't know if I'm Irisine. People pronounce it different ways. I even looked it up to try to get it right, but they pronounce it so many different ways that I'm not sure what the correct way is. But I have some of that mixed in with some Artemisia. And then we've got some of the white to pink geraniums mixed in here. And then we've got this, I cannot think of which variety, but it's a geum, and I just got them. It's a perennial, and that I'll show you these here this year. And they, again, it kind of reminds me of that brown vintage stock that looks kind of like an old-fashioned cool flower. And it is a geum like the prairie smoke. However, this one keeps blooming. At least it is for me this year. I just put them in and they just keep blooming. So I think that's really cool that I've got a perennial that keeps reblooming for me. Also last year I did transplant one of my raspberry colored, not petunias, lilies up here. And that one's just getting going. I mean, that's on its last bloom, but it only had 3 blooms this year. But you can see there's a lot of small plants in there. So by next year, I think that should be a really nice stand of lilies for me. So, all right, now we can head to the backyard. Okay, so here we are in the backyard. This is an area where there is lots of mess. To be very honest with you, I have plans for our back patio someday, like actually having a patio, some structures, etc. And so it's, even though I want to live in this and enjoy it, make it beautiful while we're here, I have a hard time doing certain things, like obviously too many trees or shrubs or anything like that that would be more permanent, because my plan is for it not to be like this forever. But it's a very big project, so it'll probably be a while before we can afford to actually do it. So actually our table here, please ignore that. It needs to be refinished. It's a beautiful cedar table that Chad's stepdad actually made for us years ago, but it is in need of refinishing right now. So just ignore that as we go. But I'm gonna not go over every plant that is in our planters. I'm just gonna have Chad walk along, and some of these are planters that are done up and will stay here like these, but I have some extra plants right now that I literally still need to get in the ground. So some of this is just extra stuff. Right over here you can see these are looking a little worse for the wear because they got dried out the other day, but they'll come back. They're fine. But I have some Sunfinities and Suncredibles. Maybe I have some of both, and they actually will go out into our sunflower field for the farm. And so I have to like keep these alive in these little pots for this time before I can get them out. And I just got the spot ready for them yesterday. So now this next week, I should be able to get those in the ground. They're gonna be so much happier and they'll be looking great by the time we open the sunflower field. So even like you can see my tomatoes, I haven't gotten them in the ground. There's stuff like that with the wedding we just haven't gotten to. So anyway, basically I just have a lot of annuals and pots along the house. And you can see we're not finished siding here either. The center part that is still gray, light gray I should say, is actually going to be stone. So we have stone work to do on that. And then out around here in the actual garden here, this is a lot of things like our annuals that have just gotten put in. So if you want to actually come out here, hun, I'll go over this a little bit. But so I have some zinnias that are from seeds, some plants, you know, some annuals that are coming up. But one of the fun things that I like to do in the back is I do a lot more tropicals, a lot more annuals. And I don't know, but when you live in Minnesota, you spend a lot of time in the cold in the winter. And I just love having an area, at least in the summer, that feels more tropical, like somewhere Caribbean. I don't know. So anyway, we've got a lot of cannas in here. I've got cannas up along the house. We've got some other like elephant ears and stuff up there as well. So that's kind of right now at this stage of my life. That's what I do back here. Is kind of where I just, anything goes, color combos. I don't care if it's bright and flashy and big leaved. I love it. So anyway, maybe we'll just do a pan around here so they can see what's here. And you know, when you're done, if you have questions about anything you see, go ahead and put them in the video, you know, underneath the video, and we'll try to answer them if there's something you want to know what it is or whatever. So the other thing I want to mention before we wrap up this video is that we are actually going to do another video soon, and that is going to be to show you some of the ugly areas of our yard and the plans that we have for them. I want you guys to understand that for us, this has been years of work. We do all of this stuff ourselves. We don't pay anybody to come in and do these things for us. And it takes time and it takes money, and we understand that. So I want to be like real and transparent with you guys. I'm going to show you, like I said, we've got retaining walls that need to be basically redone. It's kind of torn down, and it's been that way for 2 years. And we've got steps and things like that that need to be redone. So we're going to do a video with that so you can see some of the upcoming projects that we'd like to work on as well. But I think with that, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to let Chad do a pan around the back so you can see our little back patio, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.